this is John Cola with OKRaw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. Today I have my friend Kaelash Neels, who's an instructor at the Ann Wigmore Institute at present time. He's been doing raw living foods as long as I have. We both started in 1995. And Kaelash, unlike a lot of popular people online these days that may promote an all-fruit diet, right? Kaelash did a period of time, a year, with no fruit, guys. Do you believe it? This guy's still alive. He ate raw foods, ate no fruit for one entire year. So in this video, we're gonna learn about eating no fruit on a raw vegan diet. We could learn from Kaelash's experience, but more importantly, we're also gonna learn what he eats now and if he eats all fruit, no fruit, or a little bit of fruit these days. So this is gonna be a good episode, so stay tuned. So Kaelash, first you want to introduce yourself to my audience that may not know you. I know you've been in a lot of my videos before, but you don't appear too often, unfortunately.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Sure.
Yeah, I started this back in raw foods. I started back in Germany in 1995, and at the beginning I really had no idea what I was doing.
Like a lot of people out there.
Just had no idea. And I started reading some books, and at first I was into hygiene, basically.
Natural hygiene.
Natural hygiene, so I read some books and ate a lot of fruit, but actually it wasn't 100% natural hygiene because I ate also a lot of nuts. I ate some salads, but not enough salads. So I was kind of high on fruit, high on nuts, and low on greens and vegetables. And I did sprouts because I was working with sprouts, actually growing for somebody who's working with somebody who's growing sprouts commercially in the south of Germany. And so I did include some sprouts, which many natural hygienists would not. So sprouts, fruits, nuts, some vegetables when I started. And then I went to Maui, where I lived for a year, and then I was influenced by David Wolf, who was teaching some seminars there, and Stephen Arlen and Dini and
R.C. Dini, yeah.
R.C. Dini.
Old school.
So I was influenced by them, and definitely took a lot of good things away from them. The natural, the nature's first law,
right.
Nature's first law, guys.
The plagiarized book, right?
So I started including more vegetables and also seaweed.
Good.
When I moved to America, especially the dulse, it's something I didn't know about, so that's one thing I really took away. And eating more vegetables, and I probably started eating too much fat at the time, especially avocados. Living on Maui, there were just avocados everywhere for free, so that's the only time probably in my life that I gained weight, because eating so many avocados. And it was not so great for my skin, I noticed, started breaking out more. And then from there I went to Puerto Rico, where we are here, and I studied and started teaching at the Ann Wigmore Institute, and that really taught me to eat more greens. The energy soup is like 90% more or less sunflower microgreens and other greens, so it's like really concentrated. And I started drinking wheatgrass juice regularly, which I knew about, and here and there I drank some. But it really, there was this shift from nuts and lots of fruit toward more greens. At this time, so this was in 1999 when I came to Puerto Rico and started at the Ann Wigmore Institute. At that time, they still served a lot more fruit than now, like lots of things with bananas, and there was papaya and different fruits, even things were sweetened with dates. But still, I really got the message how important it is to eat more greens. And I moved to California, where
I met, yeah.
Yes, probably in 2000, I think, around that time I moved to California, and I kept hearing here and there that it'd be great to do no fruit whatsoever, And
Because of Candida cleanse, or because why?
Primarily people were talking about Candida, and I'm like, all right, this is interesting. So I was about 25 years old. This was in 2002, and I'm like, I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna
no fruit 1 year.
I decided I decided like one day to the next, after hearing a bunch of things, how it could be beneficial not to do any fruit, anything sweet for that matter.
Anything
so
sweet.
We're not just talking about fruit. We're talking about no agave, no maple syrup, no sweeteners whatsoever, except for stevia. That's the only one.
Stevia is not really a sweetener, really. It's a non-caloric sweetener.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't like it very much.
And what about other sugar alcohols? They weren't as popular back then, like erythritol or xylitol or
No, none of those.
allulose or anything?
Never used any of those in my life, and no. So it was 1 year, basically, I started my day drinking water, and then I made a big green juice, like with some cucumber, celery, big bunch of spinach, different herbs, parsley, and so forth. In the Liquip juicer.
Liquip, the high speed, or no, you had the auger?
No, I had the auger.
Auger,
Yes.
yeah.
Made a big juice, and then I made energy soup, which I learned at the Wigmore Institute. Basically, lots of greens and sprouts, and a little bit of carrot, a little bit of lentil sprouts, some Rejuvelac fermented cabbage, seaweed, also, and some other vegetables, maybe like zucchini and yellow summer squash. So I made a big amount of energy soup, and I would have that for lunch, and I would have that for dinner. And in the afternoon, in the past, I'd have like a fruit snack. And, well, no more fruit. So what I did were macadamia nuts.
Oh, I love macadamia nuts.
Primarily, that would be my afternoon
So how many,
snack.
like a handful?
A handful.
All right, that's not that many.
Yeah, a handful. And also buckwheat sprouts.
Buckwheat sprouts. So another good caloric source that's not fruit.
Yeah. And I did that for a year. I mentioned to you I cheated one time. One time within that. It was toward the end of the year. And it was one little dessert that I had at Roxanne's restaurant.
Raw restaurant. Yeah, back in the day in Larkspur. Yeah, it was a high-end raw restaurant. Hard to get a reservation, actually.
You know, and that's why I went, because there was like a waiting list, 6 months, so I didn't think I'd get in. But then we called, we just had a cancellation, so we went. And the two people I was with, they had a dessert. I'm like, I tried the dessert. So
you tried it, just one bite. You didn't order a dessert. You just had
tiny, you know, we like gourmet. We were sharing one dessert.
So you got like a bite.
And I didn't get any sugar rush or nothing like that. It was just that one dessert. I felt just the same basically after the little dessert there than before.
But then after you had the sweet sugar, you didn't want more? Like the next day you didn't crave it? Like, I got to eat more dates now.
No, I didn't. No. I was perfectly fine. No. So it was in some ways a good experience. I probably cleansed out some things that I wouldn't have otherwise. But it was challenging too, because I love fruit, and fruit also, it really is, I don't like drinking water that much, you know, so often I reach toward a fruit to
get hydrated.
Get that hydration, and I feel hydrates me more than water, although I do drink water. And the green juices, sure, I like them, but I often felt more hungry after the juice than before the juice, so that doesn't really... So what I noticed, one of the things that I noticed kind of negatively impacted my health is I had more mucus. I felt more congested.
Now, is that because you ate more vegetables or because you had maybe more fat and nuts?
I wouldn't say it was the vegetables. I don't see any connection there. Definitely the buckwheat, eating lots of sprouted buckwheat, and the nuts, I believe, and avocado too.
So overeating fats and sprouted buckwheat,
yes,
you think?
Because I got my calories from fat.
Right.
If I didn't get them, well, actually
Depends.
also from starch, from the sprouted buckwheat.
Right.
Well, some of the starch is broken down in the sprouting, so there's some starch still and simple sugars. But still, even the buckwheat, it gave me a little bit of mucus. Yeah.
So what other benefits did you get from it, Kaelash? Did you I don't know, like with no fruit, did you have no more candida? Did your skin clear up? I don't know. Were you like Superman? Could you fly up buildings?
No,
what?
I really did not notice any of those things. I didn't do any candida tests before and after. I don't think I had candida anyway. So I may not have needed to do this. It was more an experiment, and also kind of, you know, how I like to test myself sometimes.
Right, me too.
And do something new and different and feel the impact. And I stopped after a year, so I did the whole year, and I started eating fruit again, and I just really noticed how much I enjoy eating fruit. And I think too that year of being so disciplined helped me to eat things more in moderation, and not to overeat. And for me it's easier to overeat on fruit than on nuts or on vegetables. So I believe it kind of also helped me to eat just the right portions, the right amount, and not eat as much. So now I eat fruit. I eat fruit usually in the afternoon. I like to have some fruit in the afternoon. I usually keep my dinner just vegetables and with avocado and sprouts and other things. So usually in the afternoon I might eat a mango or two, or some persimmons, or whatever's in season, grapes, things like that. Yeah.
So Kaelash, what do you eat in a day now?
Now, in general, what I like to do in the mornings is a big smoothie, green smoothie, so lots of greens, and with some fruits. So I like to put some cherries in there, and sometimes bananas and different things. Also like the clove for the antioxidants, water, so make it liquidy, and then I might have that until lunchtime, and then lunch is often a salad. In the afternoon, some fruit, and then for dinner, either a salad or energy soup. I really like to eat energy soup in the evening for dinner, between 6 and 7, and then finish the day with that. In the morning I have water, maybe a quart or two, and then I might have a green juice once or twice, like before lunch, or in the late afternoon I might have a green juice as well.
So it sounds to me, Kaelash, you're eating like a vegetable-centric diet, although you're getting your calories from a spread of vegetables and healthy fats and some fruit, of course. So do you think that going no fruit for a year allowed you to, maybe appreciate vegetables more and maybe eat a bit less fruit?
I believe it did, and also I feel I went to extremes. Fruits, lots of fruits, and then nuts, and then to no fruit, and I feel like it kind of, I was able to learn from each experience, and I would say what I eat now is very balanced. And I feel also in the evening I used to crave food, and I made it a rule for myself to, after dinner, after my vegetables, to just stop there and not to eat fruit, which I used to. I wanted the dessert. And I feel that fact too made a huge difference in leaving enough time between the last meal and going to sleep. I feel I sleep better, I wake up better, I wake up with more energy, and I feel like waking up with this empty system feels just great, So I believe the different things taught me to eat in a more balanced way, and not just what I eat, also the amounts, and especially in the evening. Not to overeat in the evening, and to finish my day with vegetables.
Wow. I still have challenges eating later at night than I should. But that being said, I do eat slowly. So how important do you believe is, eating consciously and chewing each mouthful and appreciating it versus just chugging it down and I got all this fruit, I got to eat it, and then I got to go back to work in 5 minutes,
I believe it's very important. In fact, at the N. Wigmore Institute, we teach a eating class called Mindful Eating. Sometimes I teach that class, and I just did it 2 days ago, and it's like an eating meditation where you really savor each bite, and you put the spoon down or the fork down between bites, and you chew many times, many times, and you're also practicing positive thinking, or your repeated affirmation, like everything I eat creates health and harmony throughout my whole being. So eating very consciously and slowly. And often I find, and also my students find, that they don't need as much. And I give them permission, and I give myself permission too, which was a no-no while I was growing up. We had to finish
our plate,
and that still extended into my adult life. And just in recent years, I'm like, why do I need to finish my plate? I'm full. Do I need to put this into my system, and I don't feel well? I'll have low energy, and now I'm like, I'm gonna either vacuum sealing.
We have vacuum sealing, which keeps it basically just as fresh.
I can have it later.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
No
now
problem.
I have something that I can eat at some future point, the same day or tomorrow or whenever. Or if I put it in the compost, I'm like, it's gonna make great soil. You know, it doesn't go to waste. It gives nutrition to the soil. So my attitude, and that's also a message of mine, is even if it's just a little bit that's left on my plate, I see that in my son too, 11 years old now. When he's done, it doesn't matter how little there's left on the plate. He says, "I'm satisfied." And he stops, you know.
I got to teach my kids that when I have kids one day.
And he's teaching me.
I got to take lessons from you, man.
And so I'm learning from him too. I'm like, look, he's still connected to his instincts. And his
versus
intuition.
what the parent is telling, because you're not telling him to finish his plate.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's heavy. So Kaelash, I want to ask you, you know, because online a lot of YouTubers these days, especially in the raw food space, you know, they promote very high fruit diet with like maybe even 2 meals of fruit a day and 1 meal of vegetables, if that. I mean, there's some people online that unfortunately teach eating all fruit, which I am not in favor of. Would like to know your opinions of an all fruit diet real quick, but then also, what do you recommend to people that eat like 2 meals of fruit and 1 meal of vegetables? Like, looking back at your experience of, you know, all these years, 28 years now, eating a raw living foods diet and going through and experimenting with your body, what are your thoughts on that for people?
So I believe things need to be individualized, and I believe there's not one thing for all, you know. And I believe for some people eating more fruit works better than for others, especially if you're very active.
And younger.
And not all fruits are the same, you know.
Absolutely.
So I believe it strongly depends on the type of fruits and also
how
you combine them, food combining, the quality of the fruit, and how much, you know, how much. So there's many different components, many different factors. I personally believe it's important to eat vegetables. And without mentioning any names, I know some of the leaders in the what's called the high fruit movement. I have seen them and I've sat down with several of them, and I know they ate a lot of vegetables. In public, everybody thinks they're just eating fruit. But when I sat down, they had their garden where they got a lot of their vegetables from. I was impressed. The big salad bowl, you know, the famous fruitarians, they were actually eating way more vegetables than most people that I know them from books and whatnot and videos. They eat way more vegetables than many people think that they do. So I personally believe it's important to balance, and balance can mean different things to different people, but I do believe that it's important to eat a good amount of greens, green leafy vegetables, and also a variety of other vegetables, and especially, and you know this, I did the microbiome certification course, and he keeps emphasizing how important it is to eat a variety. He talks about 40 different...
40. Most people say 30. He's saying 40. So this is a microbiome expert who's Jason Hallreck, who's been doing microbiome stuff for over 20 years now.
And he says variety is important, and variety, even 2 different apples, he said, you know, or 2 different bananas, that's variety, you know, eating 2 different or 3 different varieties of bananas or apples or
peppers or tomatoes.
Exactly. So even the same
different color carrots.
Yep, absolutely. So that would be my message, one of my messages, to not narrow it down. I've been there too. I was very narrow at some point, and now I try to vary it. And that's also one of the things that I've learned from you a lot, because you say, you know, where's your variety? You know, it's like, yeah, you know, where's my variety?
Well, it's a bit more challenging here in Puerto Rico.
It is.
You know, absolutely.
And whenever I see something that's different, be it at the farmer's market or at Costco that's high quality, I'll get it, you know, because I know I want the variety for my body and my microbiome and for the nutrients.
And the flavor, the taste, sensations, So that's the way we now have property, and we're going to start working on planting the hugest variety, one of the hugest varieties in Puerto Rico of fruits and vegetables and other crops.
We started already.
We started, yes. We have many plants already, including durian.
And jackfruit.
Jackfruit, yes, we got jackfruit. Bananas, of course, already existing. Avocados, yes.
Yeah.
Many cool things happening.
Yes.
Cool, Kaelash. So are there any final words of wisdom you'd like to share with my viewers today about, eating no fruit for a year, or eating more vegetables, or eating more of a balanced life? You shared so many good, tidbits and knowledge with everybody so far.
Yeah, again, the diversity, I believe, but not just within one group, like not just diversity within fruits, but actually to also include a diversity of different vegetables, different greens, which of course are in the vegetable group. And where I can be better probably still is with different nuts. I used to love nuts and eat lots of nuts, and I reduced them to a point that now I think is the time to eat different nuts again and different varieties. So yes, variety within nuts and vegetables and fruits, and also sprouts. I'm big into sprouting.
Yep.
I teach a sprouting class. I've been sprouting since I was 15 years old. So different sprouts also, and different microgreens, including those as well in one's diet, I believe will really help us be the best possible, get to our ideal health and feel the best possible.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. And even beyond just the fruits, the vegetables, the sprouts, and the nuts, and the seeds, I would say other plant foods. So, I include now heat processed beans, especially, starch-rich tuberous vegetables such as sweet potatoes, purple potatoes. You could even eat, yacon raw, if you could find that. If you're lucky enough to find that, we'll be growing that on the property here. We're going to be growing Jerusalem artichokes, probably the #1 microbiome food that can be easily eaten raw, although it can be hard and challenging to find for you guys. I really believe the roots and the tubers are so important for us, many of which can be eaten raw, and some of which need to be heat processed before consumption. I encourage you guys to expand the different kinds of plant foods you guys are eating. Links down below to some of my videos where I get into why I started heat processing a small percentage of my food so I could expand the diversity of my diet, because I believe this is the future of health, is eating more of a diversity of different products processed in different ways, plant foods processed in different ways. That's very important. So Kaelash, any last word of wisdom you'd like to share with my viewers today before we sign off?
I would say really to not just follow whatever and whoever is sending out a message via wherever, internet or books, but to really to attune to your own body and to experiment with different things, and maybe to include some things that you haven't had, maybe to reduce some of the things that you're eating all of the time, and just to reconnect, with your body and with the food, and to journal maybe even, and pay attention to the effect of the food, rather than eating unconsciously and eating the same foods that you may have been eating for a long time. Just being open and conscious to new possibilities. Yeah.
Wow, excellent words of wisdom. This guy's a wealth of information. I really hope you guys gained something from watching this episode today with Kaelash on his journey of eating no fruit for 1 year, except one little small piece of dessert at Roxanne's Raw Restaurant when it was in existence. In any case, if you guys enjoyed this episode, hey, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. More importantly, share this with other people who you think it can benefit from. Maybe some people online that maybe overeat the fruit, or they want to experiment and do a no fruit diet for a year. That is powerful stuff, guys, to resist eating fruit. I don't know if I could do it. I think I did it for maybe a week or two back in the day, but a year, I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. I'm too weak. So also be sure to click the subscribe button right down below so you don't miss my new upcoming episodes. I've come in every 5 to 7 days. If you don't know what show up or what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. And make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. And past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 700 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to you guys all about eating more fresh fruits and vegetables. I'll post some of my favorite videos I've made in Kaelash in the past, including his latest video on vacuum blending the energy soup, so you guys get more greens in you. You guys know I'm all about the greens. I want you guys to grow your greens. You can learn how I teach you guys to grow your own greens at Growing Your Greens YouTube channel. And, keep it green. So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time. And until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables and greens. They're always the best.